a sweaty chest session going down. And over my years of training, the chest has always been my biggest struggle. And that was down to key mistakes I was making when pushing the weight. And you are probably making these same mistakes if your chest isn't growing. So these are my top 5 tips to go from this to this. So the first mistake I was making was lifting far too heavy and not focusing on my technique. So what I did was ditch the heavy dumbbells. And by getting a lighter pair, this allowed me to focus more on my technique, more on my mind to muscle connection. Still lifting a weight that's heavy and pushing yourself, but just slowing down my reps and thinking about the right technique, which I'll go further into up next. So it comes back down to having a lighter weight, like I said, so you can make these adjustments. And remember, the smallest adjustments make the biggest difference. And this one is all about changing the position of your elbows. So for years, whether it's dumbbell, whether it's a machine, whether it's Smith machine, when I'd unrack the bar or the dumbbells, I'd bring my elbows out at almost a 90-degree angle, which is gonna have a lot of tension on the shoulders. So rather than bring my elbows out at 90 degrees, I'm gonna tuck my elbows underneath slightly and have more of a 60-degree angle, which is gonna put more tension on my chest. So no, yes, no, yes. So from this angle, it might be easy to tell, rather than having my elbows out at a 90, I'm tucking them into more of a 60 degree, which is gonna put more weight through my palms and onto my chest. No, yes, no, yes. Number 3 may seem obvious and simple, but I still see this mistake making, not just on this exercise, but pretty much every exercise in the gym, and that is full range of motion. If you want a smaller, narrower chest, then do half range of motion. But if you want a wide, army chest, then get that depth. As you can see, the stretch will give the chest the width. So we've got our elbows slightly in, and instead of coming just to here, we want the full stretch on our chest, which is gonna give us that bigger, wider chest. You might have to lower the weight, like I said, but you're gonna be putting in a lot more range of motion. All right, a few good tips for the fly that slightly relate back to the press are having those elbows dropped again. So rather than having those, ooh baby, those elbows high, where I can feel the tension all over my shoulders, I'm dropping them slightly, having my chest out. Instead of bringing the wrists together, focus on bringing the biceps and forearms together. It's gonna give you a much better squeeze. All right, so now we're getting very technical, and this is a very minor adjustment. But a lot of the time I see people come down, yes, they've got their elbows narrow, which is nice, but then the dumbbells become too narrow and you're not getting that full stretch on the chest. So bringing them out towards your biceps a little bit is gonna increase that stretch. So having those elbows slightly pulled in, coming all the way down, full range of motion, but then that's quite narrow, so I can't feel the full stretch. So bringing them out just slightly towards my biceps is gonna give me that extra stretch. This is an extra little bonus tips for your dips. This is gonna help you get more tension on your chest. If you wanna do them for triceps, that's fine. You want your elbows tucked in, narrow bars, being upright. But if you wanna focus more on your lower chest, then what you wanna do is have these out wide We don't want our arms by our side. We want them more twisted out like we're doing a press. Also, we want to lean over as much as possible. So rather than being upright, we want to lean over as much as possible, elbows out. One of the last tips, if you aren't already, is hitting your chest twice a week. What I like to do is in the first session, focus more on flat and upper chest, and in the second session, focus more on lower chest and flat. So every bit of my chest is getting worked. Obviously, when I'm hitting the lower portion of my chest and flat, the upper is still gonna get hit. And whenever I'm hitting the upper with the flat, the lower is still gonna get hit, but I'm just focusing on those areas in different sessions. The last tip, just as important as any other tip, is hitting all your angles. So your major angles for your chest are going to be an incline press, a flat press, and a decline press. And then the same for your flies, an incline fly, a more flat fly, and then a decline fly. There are other angles and grips that you can hit, but those are the standard foundation angles you should be hitting within your workouts. So that is my chest workout. Absolutely smashed using all those tips that I've said in this video, which has led me to be able to increase my chest gains massively. I'm not even joking, I was making these mistakes for maybe 8, even 10 years. So don't forget that fitness is always a learning process. I've been training almost 17 years now, and I'm still learning all about those minor adjustments, guys. So remember the key points: having those elbows tucked in slightly, getting a full range of motion, having that extra bit of stretch, hitting a variety of exercises. And to make this all happen, you're gonna have to probably lower the weight slightly and drop the ego and work your way back up. Guys, use these tips. They are highly effective, as you can see. Boom. Oh yeah, and be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. You know the vibes.